Hello, my name is Danielle Alvarez. I'm the head chef of Fred's restaurant in Sydney. Today I'm going to be braising with beef. So we've chosen a couple cuts today that are particularly good for braising. The first is an intercostal, which comes from the lower ribs, sort of closer to the hindquarter of the animal. Those ribs have beautiful meat in between them. These ones, though, have a little bit of a sinew here on the inside of the rib. It's a little bit of work, but all you gotta do is take your knife underneath and take a bit of that off. And the reason you do that is that even with a lot of cooking in the oven, that piece will want to spring back together. And this just leaves you the beautiful meat that's gonna break down and get really soft and meltingly tender. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my meat into the pot again and add in our flavors. So we'll add in some of our brown sugar, a bit of soy, a bit of mirin, and then our beautiful aromatics. So some shallots, garlic, and ginger. Finally, add a bit of stock to give it some nice liquid to cook in, and simmer that and put it in the oven for a few hours. Braising is such a good technique to really bring out the most of that cut of beef. But again, it's a cut of meat that really could lend itself to barbecuing, spices, and sort of sweet and sour flavors. So these should be nice and tender now. Beautiful. You can tell just by touching them. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the meat out and then I'm gonna reduce the liquid a little bit so it clings to the meat a little bit more. So I've pre-toasted these just on the grill pan. Bring those over. A little bit of Kewpie mayonnaise on the bottom. So that meat is so beautiful and fatty. That'll just be so nice on these little buns. We're also gonna put a little touch of kimchi, which is Korean fermented cabbage with lots of chilies. That'll give us some really good spice and a little bit of acidity from the fermentation. Put some sliced shallots and toasted sesame seeds. So here we have our finished braised intercostal. Really nice Asian flavors, and I really recommend you try it. The other cut that we're doing today is a beef shin, which again is something that has a lot of collagen fat, and we're gonna make a beautiful pappardelle with that. You definitely would wanna get a bit of seasoning onto it a day ahead. That just really helps to get all the way in. Okay, so now that that's nicely seasoned, we're gonna brown that off in our pot. So we've gotten some nice brown color. We're just gonna carefully lift this out, put that to the side, and then we'll start adding in our mirepoix, sweating those down, and then deglazing. So this is our carrots, onions, and celery, which are the trinity and base of a lot of braises. So you want to just sweat that down so that that starts to soften a little bit, and then you can start adding the remainder of the ingredients. So our beautiful dried mushrooms, some nice rosemary and thyme, a little bit of our tomato, not even a full can, but maybe just half, and then a really good amount of red wine. You let the red wine cook out a little bit so that the alcohol burns off, and then we're gonna add in the stock, bring it up to simmer, add in our meat, and pop it in the oven. And our oven's about 170, and that'll probably be in there for at least 2, probably 3 hours. Okay, so I think our braise has finished. Our beautiful shin, and you can see that's just completely falling off the bone. Lift that out of the pot. Now a dish like this is really excellent for restaurants. The cut of meat is really cheap, and then you combine it with pasta and it just becomes more than the sum of its parts. Once we've done that, we will add that back into our pot with the beautiful liquid that is going to be the sauce for our pasta. And we'll just take that back to the stove, toss it with the cooked pasta, straight from water into pan. And then, as any good Italian will tell you, you have to use a little bit of that pasta cooking water. That starch from everything that you cook the pasta in is really gonna tie everything together and help it stick to the pasta. We'll just add a little bit of butter. And I like to toss my parsley through the pasta so it adds such beautiful color. And of course, it wouldn't be pasta without a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And that's our beautiful finished braised shin of beef with pappardelle.